Hey there crew, it's Mark from Mark Your Pages, and in today's video we are going to be checking out and reacting to everything that came inside of the March 2024 subscription box from Archer and Olive. This one is called Notes from Nature. So I'm just gonna start plucking from the box, and we're gonna save the pen and ink commentary and my exploration with that until the end. So let's go ahead and start with this one here. Personally, I'm a big fan of the colors of this, loving the gold foil and the packaging and that blue. So this is going to have the scalloped edge ruler inside of it. You've got a clear plastic ruler here set in centimeters. Personally, I do like this one better than the one we had a bit ago. It was made out of wood, not really my style. You get the heavy pattern on here of those floral leaves that we love seeing from Bonnie so much. We've got the Archer and Olive logo in gold on top of here. I feel like everyone needs a ruler, especially with dot grid notebooks. So a nice thing to have around, keep to the side. I'm a fan. All right, next thing out of the box is going to be one of the notebooks. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what's inside. We'll unfold this. Ooh, and this is nice. Ooh, when I opened this, I did get a very strong kind of smell. I don't know if it's the faux leather. I'm assuming that it's the faux leather inside of here, but ooh, not expecting that. The design of this is brand new, so we haven't seen anything like this. We have a faux leather wrapped cover here. I love the minimalistic debossing on here with that leaf pattern. It's not overly done, so this is very nice. Wraps fully around. Let's go ahead and open this one up and take a look. Oh, so it is a bound notebook. Okay, I thought we were gonna get like a traveler's case and then you could slip in like notebooks into that, but this is interesting. So this is full craft paper, no lines, no dots, no nothing. So pure sketchbook there. The pocket back here actually feels very large compared to some of the other ones, which is nice for a traveler's notebook as you're like collecting things and pulling them together before you put them inside of your notebook. We'll see how easy this thing is to wrap. If I remember how they had it, I think they slipped the tip, there we go, through there and holds it nice and shut and secure. So I'm personally a big fan of this. I think this is an amazing design. I love this leather wrap that goes around it to secure it, and everything kind of just works really well together. I will say the only thing that I wish that this was that it's not is something that you could replace the inside of this notebook. So like after I'm done with this sketchbook, don't get me wrong, beautiful sketchbook to have, but like this is the type of case that I would want to reuse. So maybe something in the future, Archer and Olive, my message to you, can we get a notebook cover like this so that we could just slip in notebooks inside of this but still have this really nice design? That is definitely something that I would love to see personally. All right, the next item we're going to pull out is going to be the Acrylograph pens. So we have some very cool colors here. Everything goes along with the old color theme of this. Calla Lily, Antique Ivory, Shady Lane, English Clover, and Deep Ivy. I can never open these boxes without ripping the packaging. All right, so we have all of our 5 colors here looking super nice. I love that they are continuing to put the labels of the colors with the pens. This makes me so incredibly happy. So adding these to my Acrylograph collection, I feel like I have so many now from different subscription boxes and past releases. I really have to do a better job of including them inside of my journals. Like, I don't have a reason not to, I just have to remember to use them. I'm sure you're right there with me. So the next item out of here is a big long one. From my understanding, this is what we're gonna see all of the washi tapes inside of, and I'm correct. The big thing we were looking forward to in this box, and they communicated to us that the washi tapes in this box were going to be much larger than they were in the past, and they are not disappointing. So we have super wide washi here, 4 of them. The one we have here very much mimics what we've seen on the boxes so far with this framed gold pattern. This is a lot of the flowers here in the center. Our next one here is kind of like a postage stamp. We've got butterflies on here and some words. Our next one here, this is something I feel like I would definitely use. We've got really big long pieces of like binder held clips here. You could probably write on that. We've got some like train stickers and a lot more stuff that you can write on. And then the last one we have here is musical notes, flowers, kind of that old school vintage looking newspaper book kind of feel to it, which is cool as well. I know the purpose of this washi is to like cover your page and do a lot of layering and stuff like that. It's not what I usually do inside of my journal, but I love finding ways to use the washi in different ways. So we'll have to do some exploration maybe in the future. All right, I'm gonna save the pen and ink to the last because we're gonna spend a lot of time talking about this inside of here, but you do have 3 inks that are inside of this as well as a fountain pen. I've got a lot of thoughts on the fountain pen, so let's get to that in just a second. Let's check out the rest of the things inside of this box. All right, the next thing is this notebook. So this is a B6 size notebook. I've been told that this is like the new hotness. All right, opening this up, really nice faux leather cover. Love this design. Personally, I feel like I would have liked it without the rose in the center, but I get the whole theme of this thing, makes sense. We also have the gold foil on the spine of this one here, using all those little patterns and those roses. Always going to look very nice on a bookcase. They've really been putting a lot of time in their spines, and I appreciate that. The box on this one says 160 dot grid pages. We've got a really nice inside cover design here in that gold foil as well, some of those line patterns, and everything else is pretty standard. I definitely can see the appeal of the size. Not as big as an A5 if you're not writing a lot of things, but not like a very small pocket notebook. So if you're the type of person that says like, hey, I don't have a lot to write inside of my journal or a lot going on day to day, but you do want to keep something for yourself, notes, tasks, the bullet journal method if you want to, right? This can work. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for this size book. It's new to me. I don't have one like it, and just being in dot grid makes it even more usable. So we will have to think about some ideas in the future. You hear me say that a lot of opportunities in the future. I think that every stationery item has opportunity. You can do something with it. It's just finding the right idea for you to do that with, right? So the next thing we'll pull out is going to be these stickers. So I did check these out online, and I'm iffy on them just because they're not your standard stickers that we're least used to seeing from Archer and Olive. These to me feel a little bit more like scrapbook stickers that I've seen in the past. So on these you get two of them. You have some of these like pressed looking flowers, which are very cool. And then everything else around here are just little messages. Embrace the journey, map your journey into the unknown, seek the wilderness, blossom each day, reflect on progress, explore the wild within you. So all very like inspirational kind of quotes. Peel one of these off, tape it inside of your journal. You get a whole feel, you get a whole vibe. Like I just said, there's always opportunity and different ideas. I don't know that I'm gonna be jumping to add these into my journal necessarily because I don't do a lot of this type of stuff. But you know, sometimes you just need to like fill a space. You know, nice little quote. I'm not against it. All right, and the last notebook that we're gonna check out of here is going to be an A5 size. It's called The Naturalist. Let's see why it's called that. Open this up. Oh my goodness. Look at that cover. These debossed lines around the outside are so cool. I've never seen anything like that on a notebook before. Obviously the very large gold foil flower that we have there on the front. Ooh, we've got a little ampersand imprint on the top of here now. Not from mine, because mine is still inside of the package here. So just make sure you check your notebooks. That happens sometimes. I'm not overly worried about it. While I really love this pattern around here, like I don't know if I'm running around with a big flower on the top of my notebook necessarily. It's very petite kind of feeling. I love it. It's one of those things that can happen depending how this is sitting or I guess how it's processed there. But if I was purchasing this notebook for myself, I mean, technically I guess I did because I bought this box myself, I would be upset about that. So might send a message to customer service on that one. So not sure how that happened on there. I'm not gonna harp on it, but no, check your notebooks though. I think it's important to do. The spine on this one, absolutely gorgeous. Oh, and look at the back, look at the back. Honestly, sometimes I prefer this look, like on the back of the B notebook, this imprint to like foil or anything else. I think this just looks so incredibly cool, and this detail on here is nice. Oh, and it has deckled edges. I totally forgot about that feature. So the deckled edges are things that we're seeing more and more on these notebooks. They just have this cool like ripped up feel. It's only on the sides. The process, from what I understand, is just a lot to try to do it all around the notebook, but the edge looks so cool. Another really cool gold pattern on here with that rose inside of the frame. I love the patterns in here. This whole notebook is amazing. I mean, the only thing that would make it better would be page numbers, but you know, wishful thinking. So the last two things, like I mentioned, we're gonna check out are going to be the fountain pen, and we're also gonna check out the inks. We're gonna spend a little bit more time here because a lot of you have said, Mark, I need to know what you think about this fountain pen. Is it good? Is it not? Tell me about these inks. Like, should I use them? All these things. So let's go ahead and start with the fountain pen first, because I already did a video that talked about how to use a fountain pen, especially with a converter. And what I heard from Archer and Olive was about this like manual piston converter. Now, I will tell you, I have gotten a few messages that's preparing me for what I'm about to see inside of here, because in that video, I was using one from a Quaco pen that just has like a plunger on it that you kind of pull up and pull down. I thought that was the same for here, but what I've been told is that it is not, it is different. So let's go ahead and take a look at this close up. So we have the nib here on the pen. The nib says Wing Sung on it, not one that I'm familiar with, so I'll have to do a bit more research there. We've got the metal here on the base, and then we have this converter. So in that last converter we had, you pulled the whole piece up and down, and looking at this, you do not. There's like a little, I don't even know what to call this. It's not a button, but it's like a piece of this. Never seen anything like this before. So if we take the converter off of here, that just gives us a better look at this here. So you pull up and down on this, obviously to bring your ink in and out. Well, let's see how it works. Before I go ahead and pass judgment, I mean, my first initial reaction here is that it looks very cheap. I mean, this, not what I would expect, honestly, from them. Even the other converters that are out there, they're not expensive looking, but they just function differently. Overall, this feels somewhat flimsy, just because you have this plastic piece that's sticking out here. I don't know that I trust this converter personally, and I luckily have a lot of other converters from pens and things like that that I can use, but if you don't, if this is your very first fountain pen, let's just hope it works okay. What I will say about the rest of this pen though, that I do like the design of this, the green with the gold. I also love that the cap is just a pull on, push on cap that makes it super easy. Some of the pens I have screw on caps, and it's just a pain in the butt. Every time you're like, screw on the cap when you're done writing with it, unscrew to write with it. And if you write a lot, you're doing that a lot, like I am. Right now, my fountain pen I have is like that, and while I love it, it's definitely a pain in the butt sometimes, so I appreciate that. You have the Archer and Olive branding here on the metal clip that we have here. I mean, so overall, the profile of the pen looks nice. If you take the cap off, the weight definitely is distributed a little bit better. It fits in my hand okay without the cap on it. So it's not like the mini pen when you need the cap to kind of turn it into a full-size pen. So it is a full-size pen in your hand without the cap. But so often when I'm writing with a fountain pen, I like to just keep the cap there for convenience, but it definitely throws the weight off just slightly inside of my hand. Inside the packaging, we have our 3 different color inks. So we have that dark navy blue, similar to what we saw in the rest of these notebooks. We have a teal color here, which I'm very excited for. Teal's becoming one of my favorite colors. And then we have like a olive green, I'm going to assume. There's 2 things that are really important when writing with fountain pens and ink inside of an Archer and Olive notebook, because I've been doing it for years. The nib size plays a really big deal into that. This nib on this pen is a medium-sized nib. I've heard from a few people that it feels a little bit more fine, so a little bit more thin than a medium nib. But for me, that's exactly perfect for what I think Archer and Olive needed to do for this. The ink will be interesting to see as well, because there's a lot of different qualities of ink. When we saw that glass dip pen instead of that Halloween box, the ink that came inside of there was black with a gold shimmer. You can use that type of ink inside of your fountain pens, but you do need to know that any type of shimmer or sheen or other qualities like that can kind of clog it up. We're not going to load our pen right now with those. We're just going to go with what came inside of this box, which are just straightforward inks. Before we load up the pen, I do want to check out what this ink looks like on paper. We're going to do that on 2 different types of paper. I have one type of paper that is not Archer and Olive that I really love and I trust with fountain pens. It kind of really elevates all the qualities of an ink, so we'll see if there's any extra type of shading that's a part of these. I know there's no sheen and no shimmers, so we're not going to see any of that in here, but really get a good feel for what that looks like. And then we're also going to swatch that on Archer and Olive paper. The reason that I do this on these 2 different ones, especially with this paper, is that Archer and Olive paper treats inks differently. Usually kind of mats it out a little bit. You can still see some of the shimmer and the shine and the shading, but not as much as you can on the other papers. So when you see me do this and you're like, Mark, why are you doing this? I feel like one paper really elevates the ink really well, especially if you're gonna use it outside of your Archer and Olive. And then your Archer and Olive notebook paper is gonna give you kind of a true to form feel of what this will look like inside of your journal. So it's been a few weeks since I originally recorded that video and actually started using this pen in my day-to-day because I wanted to know, is this pen really good? I didn't give it the best love, especially for the converter up front, but once I filled the pen, which was a very easy thing to do, it wasn't very difficult to do at all actually. I haven't had any issues, no leakage, nothing like that. All the things I was really scared that could potentially happen with something like this, I've actually been really good. I've used this in my Archer and Olive notebook for just my day-to-day inside of my bullet journal, and overall, really great performance. No real big issues. There had been a few times when I was writing where I noticed a little bit of feathering, but not that big of a deal, nothing like super crazy. Definitely no bleed through on my pages, which is a very good thing. I also wanted to try this in a few of my other planners that I had as well outside of Archer and Olive, and I gotta say that I was pretty happy with how it performed there as well. I used it inside of Oopsie Daisy planner that I have, that paper is really nice and did pretty good too. A little bit of feathering that I saw on there, but again, no bleed through. And also on my Night Owl planner, which is something really nice that has the Tomoe River paper, and it performed just like any other fountain pen. Overall, this box has been really fantastic just over the past few weeks, just really admiring the notebooks more than anything. I think that the covers look absolutely amazing. I think the new processes that they're using with the debossing just look so cool, and I can't wait to see what else they do with it. And when it comes to something like fountain pens and even the fountain pen ink, I think there is a future market for this for Archer and Olive. They are known as a luxury brand, and I think that they can do some really nice things with it. Of course, you compete a little bit more with some of the other fountain pens and ink brands out there, but I think if you have some really nice just like boutique colors or even different pens that come out every now and again, I think that that's really nice to do. I don't know that they're going to be able to stand up to like the big fountain pen companies, and I don't know that they want to. They definitely really like their notebook space, and that's where they do their best work. So excited to see what more comes out of them. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments section below. What did you think about the fountain pen and even the subscription box from Archer and Olive? Was it a plus for you or maybe a minus? I can't wait to chat with you more, and I'll talk with you all next time. See ya.